So here we have one of our old growth trees. This one's a rimu, and just over to the side next to me it's surrounded by our kānuka here. So we've got 4 different species of old growth trees, and our nursery blocks are either kānuka or they're mixed native. This is a particularly good looking one, and you'll see here we've got our tree tag as well. That's so we can come along, collect data. To start with, we record the date that it was planted on. Later on we'll record its tree height. We've also got an interactive map. You can go and so we can locate this tree. It's been located with GPS, so we know exactly where it is. And then over time we'll be able to monitor its growth. Of course, there's a number of factors that can influence tree growth, so we need to have a good idea of what those factors are, so we can accurately measure the tree growth. Some of the other data we've been collecting is we've been taking soil samples. So we take a soil core and then send that off to the lab for analysis, and then we can get a profile of the soil from different sites at Pourewa Creek here. So we did around 100 soil samples. Also took some earthworm samples just to get a profile of what earthworms are currently living in the soil here. And we've done some nematode sampling. So small worms that live in the soil. We've taken soil samples, and those soil samples will be analysed for what nematodes are living inside there. And then we can get a better picture of what's happening in the soil and how that might affect the growth of our trees that we've been planting. Part of the data we collected on site was taking water samples. There's 4 water sample sites across Pourewa Creek here. This was the first one. Just down in the creek, we took a water sample, sent that off to the lab for analysis. We also put in our own water monitoring equipment, which also picked up temperature in particular, which the lab can't test for. This land that we're on for a long time, it had been used as a pony club. You'll see there's a field out there, a few horse jumps, and it's got, on the edges, it's got a lot of vegetation, and up some of the gullies there's some existing vegetation, which mostly consists of these introduced woody weeds. This one here is privet. So I believe over time that a lot of these will be removed and taken out as part of the plan to restore this back to native forest. Underneath the privet there's all sorts of other things growing, again mostly introduced plants, but there are spots where we do see some native trees coming through. There's a mahoe here, and I've seen kawakawa as well coming up underneath. So there is a little bit of vegetation, native vegetation around that's coming up through. Further down upstream we've also got an existing forest, kepa bush, which is some well-established native forest, which would be a seed source for the natural revegetation that's going to happen here. That's one of the other things we're going to monitor, is the natural revegetation of the native seedlings that come up under our planting over time, and we're interested in how that revegetation changes as we move further away from kepa bush.